Hey everyone! In this video we're going to learn how to use relevant details in your writing. Sometimes when we write we use details that maybe don't apply to our main topic very well. So this video will teach you how to make sure that you have details that all connect to your topic. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is know the difference between a topic and a main idea. So here you can see that I've brainstormed about a general topic. Okay, so my topic is fast food restaurants, and I brainstormed all sorts of different ideas that go along with fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants is my topic, but I actually don't have a main idea yet. So in this one, you can see that I now have a main idea. Fast food restaurants can be unhealthy. So if I look at all my brainstorming, there's only some details here that are relevant. So let's just go through. The list here of chains that I have, this is not relevant to fast food restaurants. The idea about speed, not necessarily relevant to fast food restaurants, at least not the way I have it written here. The service, not relevant to fast food restaurants. The only section I have that I could use to write about is this part here, about them being unhealthy. So this is what we mean by sometimes when you're writing something about fast food restaurants being unhealthy, sometimes people get into ideas over here when really they should be sticking with the ideas that all relate to them being unhealthy. Here's another one. The main idea is that fast food restaurants rely on the customers to do most of the work. So again, if we go through here, now this section that I used before is not related to my main idea. The chains, again, unless I would use these as specific examples explaining how McDonald's makes you do all the work and stuff, but overall just a list of chains wouldn't help you do the work. Over here, we look at how you don't have any waiters or waitresses, you clean up after yourself, sometimes you even order for yourself. And also this idea that you walk up to the counter, there's a drive-through, those maybe are going to connect to your main idea. So let's take a look at which ones support the main idea in this list. So our idea is, I'm a perfect example of someone who has math anxiety. So now we have a whole bunch of different supporting details. Some of them support the main idea and some of them don't. So A, I feel dread every time I sit down to take our Friday math quiz. So when you're doing these, go through them one by one and decide if they actually connect. So does sitting down, feeling dread every time you sit down on Friday for your math quiz directly connect to math anxiety? Yes. Fear of math is almost as widespread as fear of public speaking. Does that directly support your idea that you're a perfect example of someone with math anxiety? No, it does not. During my last math test, I froze and I didn't even try to answer most of the questions. Is that an example of something that supports the idea that you have math anxiety? Yes, it is. I also have a great deal of anxiety when I sit down to write a paper. Now that has the same idea about anxiety, but you're specifically talking about math anxiety, so again, that one does not work to support your main idea. I turned down a summer job as a sales clerk because I would have had to figure out how much change customers should get back. So actually turning down a job because you're afraid of math demonstrates your math anxiety. I used to be afraid to raise my hand in class, but now it's easier for me to answer questions. So this part here would have demonstrated your math anxiety, but this part here does not. So this phrase does not support your main idea. Here's one more. If you think school is difficult, it's even harder for older students. So now we're going to look at the details and see which ones support this idea. Studies show that more and more adults are returning to school. So this addresses the topic, which is adults in school, but it doesn't demonstrate that school is more difficult for adults, so it doesn't support the main idea, even though it might kind of seem like it does. It takes a lot of work to relearn study habits. This is directly talking about why school might be more difficult for adults. Older students have family and job responsibilities in addition to classes. this is another reason why school may be harder for older students. Some older students are afraid of not fitting in. This would be a challenge as an older student. It's never too late to gain new knowledge. That actually doesn't explain how it was more difficult for older students. Older students can contribute to class discussion by talking about their real-world experiences. So this actually shows what advantages an older student has. So again, that's not exactly something that's going to support the idea that it's harder for older students. So your teacher is now going to give you a handout with some main ideas and supporting details where you have to find the relevant ones and exclude the ones that do not directly support your main idea. Just remember whenever you're writing to think about your reader. What do they expect to know based on the idea that you've given them? And make sure all your details relate back to that.